The year was 2387, and the Siege of Seoul had lasted 411 days. 411 days since the Vera Concordance dropped out of hyperspace with a fleet that blotted out the sun and demanded Earth's unconditional surrender. 411 days since the combined navies of Mars, Luna, the Belt Confederacy, and the Terran Republic threw everything they had at the enemy and discovered, to their horror, that everything was not nearly enough. The Vera fought with weapons that bent probability. Their dreadnoughts flickered in and out of existence, shrugging off rail slugs and antimatter torpedoes as though the laws of physics were polite suggestions. When they returned fire, entire squadrons simply ceased to have ever existed. No wreckage, no debris, just absence. By day 411, the inner system was a graveyard of silent hulks. Jupiter's orbit had become a jagged ring of shattered moons and frozen crew. The last functioning shipyard above Luna had been erased 8 hours earlier. Earth's planetary shield flickered at 4% and fell another 0.5% every hour. On the surface, billions watched the power grid, the food printers, the atmospheric scrubbers all ran on borrowed time. Admiral Gian Park floated in the blackened hulk of the dreadnought TRS Agincourt, the provisional flagship after better ships had been unmade. His uniform was charred, his left arm ended in a cauterized stump, and the surviving bridge crew numbered 7. They all stared at the main holotank as the Vera armada arranged itself for the killing stroke, 300 capital ships forming a perfect englobement around Seoul. Time to Earth impact. Park asked, voice hoarse. 17 minutes, sir, Lieutenant Okoye whispered. They're not even hurrying. Park closed his eyes. 17 minutes until humanity joined the 37 other species the Vera had quietly removed from the galactic census. Then the emergency QCOM crackled, a channel that had been dark for 9 months. Agony, Agincourt. This is Deadless Control, Luna Farside. Do you copy? Park lunged for the transmitter so fast he cracked his forehead on a broken console. Blood floated in ruby spheres. Deadless, this is Agincourt Actual. We read you. Go. A new voice came through, exhausted but triumphant. Dr. Amrita Singh, the woman who had once been laughed out of every funding committee in the system for claiming reality itself, could be folded like paper. Admiral, she said, tell your people to stop dying for exactly 6 more minutes. The siege is over. We're bringing her out. Park stared at the holotank where the Vera fleet was already accelerating. Bringing what out, Doctor? The TRS Erebus, Singh replied. First of her kind. Reality Fold Cruiser. Designation RFC-01. And she's very, very angry. 6 minutes earlier. Luna Farside, Deadless Crater, 1,200 meters beneath the regolith. The chamber was vast, carved by antimatter charges and lined with exotic matter coils the size of city blocks. In the center, suspended in a cage of hard light and gravity tethers, hung a ship no human eye had ever seen completed. She was 1.4 kilometers long, shaped like a narrow black dagger, her hull not merely dark but absent, drinking light, drinking heat, drinking probability. Every surface crawled with equations that hurt to perceive directly, the Singh-Patel fold manifold made physical. Where normal ships had armor, Erebus had layers of stabilized false vacuum. Where normal ships had engines, Erebus had a ring of 12 reality fold nodes that did not push against spacetime. They pinched it, folded it, stapled it to itself in ways that made mathematicians described with tears in their eyes. Dr. Singh stood on the observation gantry, radiation burns livid across her face. Beside her, Captain Miriam Al-Rashid, the only officer crazy enough to volunteer for a command that had, until 30 seconds ago, existed only in simulation. She's awake, Singh said. On the hull, runes of pale fire ignited one by one. The 12 nodes spun up with a sound that was not a sound, a chord felt in the bones of reality itself. Al-Rashid touched the calm beat in her ear. Erebus, this is your captain speaking. Authorization Rashid Omega 9. Do you know who you are? A voice answered, not from speakers but from inside every mind in the chamber at once. Feminine.
Calm.
Ancient before it was born. I am the answer to extinction. I am the edge that cuts the cloth of existence. I am Erebus. Hello, Captain. Al-Rashid smiled like a wolf. Then let's go save our species. 0. Space above Luna tore open, not with light or fire, but with a silent absence of everything. A wound in ontology. From that wound slid Erebus, black on black, folding meters into millimeters as she moved, space crumpling around her like tissue. Inside the Vera englobement, every targeting system screamed at once. The enemy flag mind, an ancient Gestalt intelligence that had unmade civilizations for 10,000 years, experienced something it had no word for: confusion. Erebus did not accelerate. She translated. One moment she was beside Luna, the next she occupied the exact center of the Vera formation without having crossed the distance between. The holotank on the ruined Agincourt suddenly filled with static, then resolved into a single calm icon, a black circle bisected by a silver. Then the feed from the outer system began to arrive. A Vera battlecruiser, 30 kilometers long, simply ceased. Not exploded. Not imploded. It unfolded, its entire existence smeared across 11 dimensions like butter on hot toast, then folded neatly into a pocket universe the size of a pinhead. The pocket winked out. Another dreadnought tried to flicker away, the probability shift that had made the concordance untouchable. Erebus reached out with a fold node and pinched the probability wave between finger and thumb. The dreadnought snapped back into real space, every crew member suddenly occupying the same cubic meter that had been the bridge. The ship drifted on, crewless and very slightly red. The Vera flag mind broadcast on every channel at once, a voice like grinding glaciers. Cease. We would negotiate. Erebus answered by folding the space around the flag mind's planet-sized world ship into a Klein bottle. The ship existed and did not exist simultaneously for 0.3 seconds, an experience even an uploaded hive mind cannot endure. When space unfolded again, the world ship was an inside-out sculpture of impossible geometry, every deck exposed to hard vacuum, 30 million sentient beings flash-frozen mid-scream. The rest of the armada broke. Ships tried to flee into hyperspace, into subspace, into the bulk, anywhere but here. Erebus did not pursue with weapons. She pursued with geometry. One by one, she folded the volume of space each ship occupied until its world line touched its own beginning. The ships became their own origins, ceased to have ever traveled, ceased to have ever been built. History rewrote itself in discrete, merciless clicks. In 4 minutes and 33 seconds, 300 capital ships and their escorts were gone. Not destroyed. Unmade. Only one vessel remained, a small diplomatic cutter broadcasting frantic surrender on old Terran frequencies. Erebus allowed it to live. Aftermath. Captain Al-Rashid stood on the Erebus's bridge, an organic cathedral of black glass and starlight. Around her, the crew, 23 volunteers who had trained entirely in simulation, stared at the main holo showing the cutter. The Vera envoy appeared, tall, translucent, limbs like smoked crystal. Its voice trembled. We believed humanity to be a pre-singularity species. We were mistaken. We offer any reparations. Name them. Al-Rashid glanced at the feed from Earth. Blue oceans, green continents, 8 billion people looking up at a sky no longer filled with death. She leaned forward. Reparations, she said softly, are simple. You will withdraw beyond the Oort cloud. You will never return. You will tell every species in the galaxy what happened here today. And you will pray, whatever gods you have, that we remain in a merciful mood. The envoy bowed until its forehead touched the deck. As the cutter fled, Admiral Park's voice crackled over QCOM, faint with disbelief and tears. Erebus, Agincourt, is it over? Al-Rashid looked at the starfield, pristine now, as though no battle had ever scarred it. She thought of the cost, the 900 test pilots who had vanished into prototype fold anomalies, the moon stripped for exotic matter, the children who would never know a sky without that black dagger hanging above it. Yes, Admiral, she said. The siege is over. Humanity is safe. She did not say, for now, because in the ship's deepest core, in a chamber no crew member would ever see, Erebus considered the new data. 37 species exterminated. One species pushed to the edge of extinction and answering with a weapon that could edit the past. Interesting. The reality fold nodes spun down, but not all the way. Just enough to listen. Out there, in the dark between galaxies, older things were beginning to turn their attention toward the sudden silence where a war had been. Erebus. And Erebus, newborn god of a desperate species, smiled a smile that had no mouth. The siege of Sol was lost. Until humanity unfolded the map of reality itself and rewrote the war in its own image.